It was July 2017. I had just began my career as a paramedic. Shortly after graduation and passing the National Registry, which was the board that licensed you as a paramedic, I accepted a job from a small company working in a very rural area. This is my story. For reference, the county was about 80 miles long and about 40 miles wide. We're well over 2 hours away from the next major city, and a double-wide trailer would be about as nice as a house as you would find out here. The area was plagued with meth, poverty, and violent crime. None of the residents were very well educated, so our nature of calls varied from ingrown toenails, suicides, boating accidents, and the occasional electric scooter versus car. A lot of stories come to mind when thinking about my career, but this one has stuck with me my entire life. I worked nights, usually from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. The shift usually started off slow and picked up when the sun went down. My partner was one of my lifelong friends. Since we were kids, it made working together very easy in high-stress situations. We got a call one night to your typical trailer house subdivision nestled on the lake. We arrived at the address that we were dispatched to, double-checking the numerics with dispatch to make sure we arrived at the correct address. It was eerily quiet. It was 3 a.m. and pitch black. None of the other houses had lights on. This house was actually a clean and well-kept double-wide trailer house with a wraparound porch and a well-manicured yard. Unfortunately, it was surrounded by houses that were not up to the same standard. Something caught my attention as I stepped out of the ambulance. There was a for sale sign displayed in front of the house. There was also no cars parked in the driveway. We unloaded our stretcher and medical bag and started for the front door. I knocked on the door fairly loudly. My knocking was soon followed by utter silence. After another series of knocks and my partner announcing our presence, we decided to shine a light through the front window, hoping we were able to see someone coming for the door, or if our patient was unresponsive on the floor, in view of the window. Then I shined the light through the window. We were able to see the house was completely empty. No furniture, no decorations, no signs that anyone lived here at all. We looked through the rest of the windows, which revealed the same. No furniture, beds, or appliances. My partner and I looked at each other in confusion. I radioed dispatch to check again to make sure we had the correct address. The call was for an injured person. That's about all the information we had. We did a thorough search of the yard and the surrounding areas. We were probably there for 10 minutes, looking for this person. My partner and I met up and agreed that there was no one at this location. We radioed dispatch, asked them to call the caller back for additional information. Prank calls were usually not an occurrence out here. Dispatch radioed us back to inform us that they were unable to reach the caller. My partner and I were walking back to the truck to clear and become available for service when we noticed a gap in the underpinning of the house. We shined a flashlight underneath to make sure no one was there. Just as we suspected, there was nothing. As we were approaching the truck, we heard a faint yell, "Help me, please help." My partner and I froze in our tracks and looked at each other in confusion. Where the hell was this guy? We turned facing the house to see a middle-aged gentleman come out of the woods into the front yard. Immediately, my partner and I became uneasy. During this time, people had started robbing ambulances at gun or knife point. He slowly hobbled towards us. "My wife, she needs help. I think she broke her leg. She tripped on a tree branch." He pointed into the woods. There was nothing but trees and brush bordered by a lake. Literally miles of forest back the way he pointed. No houses, nothing. "Bring your equipment," he said. "It's bad. You're going to need to bring your equipment with you. She's in a wheelchair, but I couldn't push her. I'm not quite strong enough." We radioed dispatch to let them know we found the patient, and before I could let them know we were going to be going on a voyage through the woods, he cut me off, forcing me to lose my train of thought. I grabbed the medical bag and my partner grabbed the monitor. I requested the local volunteer fire department for assistance to push the patient through the woods. They quickly radioed us back to inform us the fire department was unavailable due to another emergency. I then requested another ambulance for assistance. Again, we were shot down. All the other ambulances in the county were already on another call. We trudged through the forest, ducking and dodging briars and brush. We walked for what seemed to be a half a mile from the house. I noticed that the man seemed to hobble effortlessly on his crutches. My partner and I were dog-tired. The whole situation seemed odd. To say we felt as though this would be dangerous would be an understatement. Red flags were going off in our heads like crazy. I just don't think I could have lived with myself if we didn't go offer aid to this old woman. The man rambled off some story about how him and his wife met while he was fishing, and for their anniversary of 34 years he wanted to take her fishing. "It's just over here," he hollered back. I quickly became uneasy. I realized that how could his wife have fallen if she was in a wheelchair? After all, he said that she had tripped, not fallen out of a wheelchair. We arrived at an opening in the woods. I looked down at my GPS on my phone to find no cell service. Great, I thought. No way to call for help. I keyed up on my radio to see if we were able to communicate, and nothing came through but static. That also meant my built-in panic button wouldn't work either. "Here we are," he said. He then dropped his crutches and walked behind a large oak tree. We immediately froze in our steps. The man reappeared from behind the tree, holding a large baseball bat wrapped in razor wire. My partner stammered, Where is she?" hoping that it was some kind of poorly executed joke. He looked at us and laughed. "There ain't nobody hurt out here, boy. Yet, anyways." He reared back with the bat and swung at me, missing, striking the tree. Quickly thinking, I threw the medical bag, which was very heavy, hitting him in the chest and knocking him to the ground. My partner and I were running for our lives, my partner still clutching to the monitor. The old man started to get up again, before my partner threw the monitor, striking him in the face. He let out a hellish scream. Not a scream of pain, but a scream of anger. We were running for our lives, tripping over briars and branches, getting cut up on every briar or bush. Our uniforms were ripped and covered in blood from briars. We ran for what seemed to be hours. We finally reached the backyard of the empty house and made a mad dash for the ambulance. We looked back to see this man running at an oddly fast pace for an older man, especially one that was on crutches. My partner jumped into the driver's seat, and as soon as I got in and shut my door, we took off at what seemed to be a snail's pace. The bat that he swung at us came crashing through the driver's side window, nearly striking my partner. We hauled it as fast as the old ambulance would drive. We then suddenly came to a dead end on the road. We looked in the rearview mirror to see what looked like a scene from a horror movie. He was closing in on us quickly. My partner slammed the truck into reverse, backing over a series of mailboxes. Before we could even put the truck in drive, a large rock came crashing through the windshield, striking me in the shoulder. We hauled ass. I don't know how fast we were going down that country road, and probably didn't care to. Once the old man was out of sight, I radioed dispatch and told them we needed law enforcement as soon as possible, and that we were chased by a man trying to kill us. No officers were available. We decided to hightail it to a well-lit truck stop and wait until a cop would be available. A lone sheriff deputy rolled up nonchalantly and rolled his windows down. "What the hell happened to you guys?" We told him our story, and he tore off into the night, as if he knew exactly who we were talking about. Days, weeks, and months passed with no news. We finally ran into that sheriff's deputy and asked him if they ever found the man. He said no, and we never found any trace of him either. To this day, we don't know if he ever got caught, or if he's still lurking in the woods, preying on someone else. Thanks for listening to Phantom Fables TV. Don't forget to show your support by liking, commenting, subscribing, and turning on notifications.